In the wild, chaotic world of cryptocurrency, there's one thing that's supposed to be a sure bet. $1 is $1. That's the whole promise of stablecoins. But here's the thing. What if that promise is just an illusion? Today we are diving deep into the tech that props up the entire crypto market, and we're going to ask if its foundation is built on solid rock or on shifting sand.
And that right there is the big question. Stablecoins make this really simple, really powerful promise. One digital token, always worth $1. But is that promise an ironclad guarantee? Or is it actually built on something way more fragile? Let's dig in and find out.
So why do stablecoins even exist? Well, it's pretty simple. They were created to solve crypto's single biggest problem, those insane price swings. They were designed to be a digital dollar, right? A safe harbor in a storm and a super important bridge between the new world of crypto and good old traditional finance.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with that $1 promise. Then we'll look at why stablecoins are so essential. After that, we'll break down the different models and their flaws, dissect a catastrophic collapse, check out the new rules of the game, and finally, ask what the true foundation of trust really is.
All right, so this whole $1 promise, how is it even supposed to work? The theory is nice and simple, but the reality? Well, it's built on a pretty complex mix of financial engineering and, most importantly, trust.
So, at its heart, a stablecoin is a type of crypto that tries really hard not to act like a crypto. Its entire job is just to hold a fixed value, a peg, to a real-world asset, and that's almost always the US dollar. Just think of it like a digital poker chip that you can, in theory, always trade in for a real dollar. Now, before we get into all the things that can go wrong, it's absolutely crucial to understand just how important stablecoins have become. I mean, these aren't some niche experiment on the side. We're talking about the very lifeblood of the entire digital asset economy. Seriously, just think of them as the plumbing of the entire crypto world. They're what lets massive trades happen in seconds. They settle transactions without needing to wait for a bank, and they give traders a safe place to park their money when the market is going absolutely haywire. Without stablecoins, the crypto market we know today would pretty much just grind to a halt. And that brings us to, honestly, the most important part of this whole discussion. Not all stablecoins are built the same. The way they're designed, the engineering behind that promise of stability, is what determines what can go wrong. And this, right here, is where we start to see the cracks in the foundation.
Generally, you can lump them into three big buckets. First, you have fiat-backed, which are by far the most common. Then there's crypto-backed, which use other crypto as collateral. And finally, you have algorithmic stablecoins, the most experimental, and as we're about to see, the most dangerous.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because it all comes down to trust. With a fiat-backed coin, you're trusting a company. You're trusting that for every digital coin they create, they have one real dollar sitting in a bank account. But with a crypto-backed coin, you're not trusting a company, you're trusting code, a smart contract. And that code holds more than $1 worth of another crypto, like Ethereum, for every $1 coin it issues. That extra padding is called over-collateralization, and it's there to absorb any crazy price swings. So, for the most popular kind, you've got to ask yourself, do you trust the company behind it? What's really in their bank account? Is it all safe, easy to access cash, or are they maybe taking some risks? And because it's a central company, they can actually freeze your funds, which creates a huge risk of censorship. And that brings us to the third type, algorithmic. This was this grand experiment to create a truly decentralized dollar, basically out of thin air, with no collateral at all. Instead, it used these complex algorithms and smart contracts to constantly adjust the token supply, trying to keep the price at exactly $1. Yeah, that whole creating a dollar out of thin air thing, it turned out to have a fatal flaw. So let's turn to the case of TerraUSD, or UST, to see how this theoretical risk turned into a very real multi-billion-dollar disaster. So how did it all start? Well, with an offer that was just too good to be true. And you know what they say about those? A lending platform called the Anchor Protocol was promising a nearly 20% annual return on any UST deposited. This, of course, created a massive amount of demand, but it also created a ticking time bomb by putting almost all of the coins in one single basket. In May of 2022, a few big investors started pulling their money out. The peg started to wobble just a little bit, down to 98 cents. But that was enough to trigger a classic bank run,
As everyone panicked and rushed for the exit, the algorithm that was supposed to save the day did the only thing it knew how to do. It started printing its sister token Luna at an absolutely insane rate. This hyperinflationary spiral was like pouring gasoline on a fire. It destroyed Luna's value and shattered the stablecoin's peg for good.
And the result of all this? In just a matter of days, over $42 billion in value just vanished. This wasn't just a market dip, it was a complete evaporation of wealth on a scale that is just staggering. And it hurt hundreds of thousands of regular investors.
And listen, this is a really crucial point. We can see from the on-chain data that even in this supposedly transparent blockchain world, the big, sophisticated players had a huge advantage. By watching the blockchain directly, they saw the trouble coming and got out first, leaving everyone else holding the bag. It just goes to show that technology by itself doesn't make things fair.
You can bet the collapse of Terra was a massive wake-up call for governments around the world. It lit a fire under regulators to finally write a new rulebook for stablecoins to make sure something like this could never, ever happen again.
And when you look at Europe's new MiCA rules and the proposed Genius Act in the U.S., you start to see a really clear picture emerge. They both demand strict one-to-one backing with super high-quality assets like cash and short-term government debt. They both require regular public audits. And here's the kicker. They both straight-up ban paying crazy high interest rates just for holding the token, a direct shot at the 20% yield that killed Terra.
The message from regulators, then, is crystal clear. The whole move fast and break things startup mentality for stablecoins is over. The new global standard is that if you want to issue a digital dollar, you need to act like a bank or a money market fund with all the rules and accountability that come with it.
So all of this brings us back to where we started. After looking at the promise, the different designs, the collapse, and the new rules, we have to ask that fundamental question again. What actually makes a stablecoin stable?
See, stability isn't just about clever code. It really rests on three big pillars. First is financial assurance. You have to have real, high-quality, liquid assets backing up every single coin. Second is technological assurance. People need to be able to verify those reserves, either through open-source code or through trusted, regular audits. And finally, you need regulatory assurance, a legal system that guarantees your right to get your dollar back no matter what.
And I think that's really the core lesson here. For all their cool tech, stablecoins aren't some kind of magic. They're not inventing a new type of trust. They're simply building digital mirrors of the exact same trust systems that have supported finance for centuries: reserves, audits, and regulation.
So let's leave you with this final thought. The real challenge for stablecoins isn't just about writing elegant code or a clever algorithm. It's about who you trust to make you whole when things go wrong. Is it a company, a smart contract, or a regulator with the force of law? Because in any financial system, digital or traditional, that guarantee is the only thing that truly matters.